Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity today, and a great turnout. That's great. Listen, I'm representing the Department of Local Government, Infrastructure, Local Government and Planning, but more specifically the Local Government Division part of the department. Big department, but the Local Government Division is the front-end relationship division within the department that has the key relationships for building capacity in local governments, assisting local governments in their governance and improving their governance. And we have a regional network that deals individually with councils across the state. So currently, as a division, we don't have one system to collect, analyse and report on data. More specifically on the performance of local governments, we do have a risk profiling regime, but it's currently a bit clunky and it's very Excel spreadsheet based. So it's pretty cumbersome and not really that friendly to our regional counterparts. So currently we do have a really big willingness in the division to look at a solution. It is our daily bugbear that we have to go to many different sources to actually get the information and then compile that, manually look at it, make some sometimes subjective decisions based on just the evidence we have. So you could imagine that if we don't have all the evidence or all available evidence, then we may be making decisions that aren't quite as good as we could have. So we'd be looking to work with a provider to give us advice and work with us on a solution to use what data we already have, because we are collecting all the data that we need. It's just in various different formats and various different ways of coming through the door. So we could easily do that for one council, spreadsheet, and readily get that information. But we have 77 councils, and some of those councils are going to have similar issues around governance or performance across the state. So we'd love to really be able to target our resources in a more efficient way by being able to see those trends and see those issues right across the state, but also for individual councils. The first stage, we'll be looking at a very basic need is the risk profiling, but we're open. We need a system to help us monitor, analyse, report and assist councils to improve their performance and governance and their sustainability across the state. So we're very open to it. Our staff are very enthusiastic about wanting to get a solution to not only make their job easier, but to also service their clients in a better way. So we do collect it now. We need to match it. This is a really overdue initiative, and it's something that, with this opportunity, we could really scope out the beginning and the progression to a more sophisticated system. Like I said, our basic need is risk profiling and the performance of local government, but we're open. We don't want to just restrict it to that. There might be other solutions out there that we haven't thought of, and we're not the be-all and end-all in this type of solution. So we'd really like to see what we could find to start that process off, and then as we get to use a solution, intuitively we're going to know what we can't do, what we might need, and that's where we need to look at where the framework sits, and hopefully right at the beginning we can decide on something that's scalable and expandable in that regard. So out with the reactive processes that we take now and in with the proactive is what we're looking for. So thank you. Is there any questions?
Hello, Erez from Quisco. You talked about a different type of systems. I want to know if those database or systems are in your control or in the department control, basically, yes. And if they have any API open, or are we talking about different Excel sheets that needs to be merged together?
So, do we have control of the current systems we have?
can you, like if there is an API, if there's not, are you able to, like, are we will be able to develop an API? Is it under your control and?
Well, yeah, so precisely the sort of thing we actually need to get the options out of you so we can actually make that happen. The department is very willing to get this and make this happening. So whatever we need to do, that's where the discussion lies about how to do that. Yeah.
So I think Brock, the question was, is some of that data sourced from local government, local authorities, or is it?
Well, it can be. It's sourced from local government. If it's collatable data, it's going to be through spreadsheets mostly. A lot of it is in the public domain already, so we collect it ourselves. We'd be looking in the process to work out better collection methodology so we can assist councils to give us information in a format that we can use. So that's part of that discussion, to work on a framework to do that. Yeah. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
Hi, Greg Carroll from Fast Track. Are you looking at a real-time type of tool, or are you talking about getting dumps or something on a monthly basis or a reporting period?
Well, as real-time as we can get it. Our regional staff do a lot of place visits at councils, so it would be really useful for them to have reasonably up-to-date data that they can use or prepare for when they go out. So,
would we be able to have access to interrogate a council's database?
No, it's strictly data
one way
we would collect. It wouldn't be any impost at this point in time on local governments. Right. That could be the next step, that once we've helped them start dealing with the process, giving us information in a format that we can use, or readily use, that we can hopefully then provide them with a system that they can do it more instantly rather than putting it into a spreadsheet and sending it off to us.
I've got another question down the front end, in the back first, and one down the front too, Marie, when you're through.
Vladimir here from Ndelen. We provide the textual and the numerical analysis. Now, roughly in percentages, can you tell us how much of your data is textual and how much is numerical? Roughly.
Yeah, numerical. For this particular, that base need, I'd say probably around 50% of what. There will be a deal of qualitative data that will need to be captured, and then the human asset element will think about how to deal with that. But probably about 50% will be numerical.
Thank you.
So I had one down the front.
Hi, Thomas from Mobius. I was just wondering, are the hardware that the councils are currently using, are they consistent across all regions, or is it a mishmash of sort of progressive programs that have occurred over the last 10 to 15 years?
Councils themselves?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not quite aware what all the councils use, but our basic requirement is to get the information out of them, mostly via their reporting system.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, they usually export it to us as tabular data, and then we manipulate it, and that's where the drag comes in for us, the daily pain, so to speak.
So they would all be willing to pick up an additional system in order to do this process more efficiently?
They wouldn't be involved in the system as such in the first tranche.
Yep.
Yeah. What we would be hoping to do was start this process with our basic needs and any more that we can get in on that first phase, and like I say, start to try and educate about how we need that data, and then try to get them on board as to, are they willing to come on to some sort of electronic delivery, and that would be the second or maybe even the third phase of this sort of project.
Yeah, thank you.
So it sounds like not the CSV files that come from council, perhaps, if it's
yeah, and if there was another way to generate those files, perhaps not using CSV, something more mobile friendly, you could add photos and more relevant information towards the site, stuff like that.
So to understand though, we've got a big range of sophistication in local governments. So we've got 16 Indigenous local governments that do have very little capability, and we would give them assistance to do that, ranging up to Brisbane City Council, who don't really deal with us much at all. They're their own entity. Yep. So we've got a big range, so it's about finding that happy medium to get, and what type of format you would get through the door.
Yep.
We've got one question, I believe, a tweeted question, Mark.
Yeah, we do have a Twitter question, which I think I can probably help answer. So the question is, do you expect a minimum viable product or a concept on how the reporting can be attained? So the way that this program is structured is that it needs to have a minimum viable product. It's not a concept. We're looking for a minimum viable product to be part of the program.
And precisely that. I think with our minimum need, which is take our risk profiling regime and apply it, I think that's very achievable. I mean, if you wanted to go to the effort of putting it onto a massive great spreadsheet, you could do it that way, but it's not very regional friendly for our colleagues. Very doable, but if we had some extras that we could fit into that viable, then well and good.
Okay. Thanks, Brock.
Great, thank you. Thank you.